Mr. Bell, you say you've spent approximately $7,000 caring for a child you are positive is not your son, and you know who the father is. You say your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Clemons, duped you into believing her 8-month-old son, Major, is yours, but you are certain today's DNA test will prove you are not the father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Clemons, you say Mr. Bell's accusations are false, and you're certain the test will prove Major is his son. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Bell, what have you done for Ms. Clemons and her son?
I've done everything, Your Honor. I moved from California to go be out there with her with the baby. I've diapers, car notes, strollers, boxes, everything. I've done everything that I feel like a father should do for his child.
Of course he should do that. He's the father.
I've done it all.
He's the father. Why shouldn't you do it? Why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you? And so far as the car note, he did that on his own. You know, I didn't ask him to pay my car note. He did it on his own, you know?
Because she couldn't work, Your Honor. She was going, what's it called, maternity leave? So she couldn't work. So I'm doing everything that I feel I should do as a father.
So why do you feel she duped you? You said she duped you.
Because look what the baby looked like. The baby looks white, Your Honor. The baby, I'm expecting a chocolate baby, and this baby came out white, Your Honor.
Come on now.
Wait a minute.
Like, I never.
My son, this is not, my son's life. My son's life is not a game. It's not a game. Every baby comes out light.
No,
you know, every baby comes out light.
No, they don't.
Every baby comes out light.
No, they don't.
They do.
No, they
So
don't.
wait a minute, Mr. Bell, let me be clear. You're saying the only reason you believe Ms. Clemons duped you is because the child didn't come out the shade you thought it should?
Yeah, and there's a white guy involved. That's why.
Oh.
Okay, now so far as the white guy, we had no physical, nothing. He texted me. We actually met the day that he seen the day that he seen the message. We actually met the day before that, and he wanted me to do his hair. It was never nothing physical, nothing. So
wait, the white guy wanted you to do his hair?
Yes.
The white guy want braids.
He has braids in his hair.
Okay, I actually have seen that before. So he wanted to get his hair braided.
I'm from Compton, so it's not too, you know.
Fair. You're saying you've never heard of such. Jerome, have you ever had braids?
Only when I was a teenager.
Jerome had them as a teenager. So, see, we've heard of it. So listen, you're saying there was this relationship with a gentleman that was white, and you said you've witnessed him texting Ms. Clemons. She said it's because he wanted to get his hair braided. Are you asserting in this courtroom today that you believe he's the father of this child?
Yes, Your Honor. It's just so much, Your Honor. It was like, and I'm not a jealous dude. She's telling me dudes is turning her down. Like we get upset, we argue.
No, not turning me down.
She turns down dudes on Facebook all the time. Oh, I'm always turning down dudes, tell them I'm with you. Then 2-3 guys calling her phone. I'm not the type of dude, let me see your phone.
Okay, listen, guys are calling my phone.
But she throws it in my face, so it's like, so that means you talking to dudes. If they are
calling or texting my phone,
and we already having
they're
trust
wanting their
issues,
hair
so
done.
it's like, man.
I do hair. Listen,
man, every time she does hair, she lets me know.
On the side, I do hair for a living. People call my phone. People text my phone. I'm honest with Mr. Bill. I'm very honest with him.
That's a lie, Your
We don't
Honor.
have no lies. We don't. He's putting on a show right now, but whatever.
When she goes to do hair, she lets me know.
We don't have any lies. So this shouldn't be a problem. Dudes are texting my phone, calling my phone. He's right there, sitting right next to me. If he believes that he's the father, why come to me kissing my stomach? Why tell his family members that I'm pregnant? He's excited. You know, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Because it's a chance that I was the father. You know what I'm saying? We were messing around, but we weren't in no relationship.
It don't make sense.
When I conceived
So wait a minute. Are we saying here today, and I want to be clear about your testimony, that your doubt didn't start until the baby was born?
Yeah, once I seen the baby, that's when I was like,
during the pregnancy, you were thinking you having a baby?
Yes.
So tell me what happened the day Major was born.
Okay, the day Major was born, I'm excited. You know, me and her at the hospital, and she's there. She's finna go into birth, and the doctors she's squeezing my hand. The doctors are like, push, push, push. You know what I'm saying? I see the little afro come out. I'm all like, oh man, here he come. I'm getting excited. I'm like, push, baby, push. You know what I'm saying? She pushing. He come out like this. You know what I'm saying? And I just was all like, I don't know how I was looking.
What do you mean he comes out like this?
He come out white, like I seen the afro, so I'm thinking a little chocolate drop finna come out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's not be funny because...
And I guess I must have had like a crazy look on my face or something, because she's like, what's wrong with the baby? What's wrong? Is he okay? And I'm like, man, this baby white. And I just sat down, all the doctors and them looked at me all crazy like, oh, all babies come out white. To me, it seemed like they was trying to convince me. You know
So
what
in
I'm
that
saying? Like,
moment, you're thinking this baby is white, and you're thinking about this gentleman that's white that's always texting her?
Yeah.
You put two and two together in the hospital room, in the delivery room?
Yes.
And that's what you're thinking?
Yeah. Like, it's just so much like...
Well, let's be honest,
it's like,
too.
like the baby, like she wanted to get a baby 3 different last names at the birth
Okay,
certificate.
let's go
You know
on
what
that.
I'm saying?
So far
like,
as the 3
I was
different
like-
last
I was
names,
like,
my
well,
family,
hold on.
it was
If
my
this is
family last
this is my
name.
son and
My
I flew out
family
here.
has 2 last names. They have 2 last names, and I was gonna give him his last name. My family, my
3
last
last
name.
names.
Listen, my last name, my family's name, and then his name I was gonna give him. That's it.
If that's my son, he needs to have my last name,
all
so I
the
can
boys
start
in
my
our family,
family.
all the boys in my family has the same last name, 2 last names, which is my last name, and then the family's last name. So that's why it wasn't no other man's last name. It wasn't the white guy last name. It was mine.
I don't know none of that. I don't know none of that. I
Okay,
don't
and
know
then
none
going
of
back-
that.
and going
if
back
it's
and
my
stuff-
son, is my name is gonna be on the birth certificate. Nobody else's.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Ms. Clemons, does Mr. Bell have any reason to doubt paternity?
He have no reason to doubt. He have no reason to doubt. He say it's because of what he went through, which is fine, but he have no other reason to doubt. He know that I wasn't in a relationship with another guy. He knows that.
We were
together.
In a relationship.
We were actually
She was taught. She been, like I said, it's been dudes calling from the beginning.
From
Before we got
hair.
in a
You keep
relationship,
repeating the same thing. It was for hair.
Before
For
we even
hair.
got in a relationship, she done had dudes calling her, hitting her up on Facebook, and then like the only way I end up finding out about it is because she gets upset and then tells me, "Oh, I'm turning down dudes for this and this and this." Like it's so much. I just show you the.
What did you bring to show me?
Can I go to the board?
Absolutely, you can step to the exhibit.
Okay, Your Honor, this is me. As you can see, I'm dark skinned, not super dark, but I'm a dark skinned, you know what I'm saying, fellow. And this is Miss Clemons, and you see she's like a cinnamon brown, you know what I'm saying? So I did a baby morph, you know, to see, you know, put these together to see what the baby would look like with all, you know, with it being us. And this is what I got.
Seriously?
This is what I
Seriously.
got.
Okay, now my son's life, again, my son's life is not
you know what
a
I'm
joke.
saying,
It's
Your
not a
Honor?
joke, and he's trying to be funny.
And this is what I got, you know what I'm saying? As far as with the complexion being, you know what I'm saying? And then this is my son. And this is what come out. This is how he come out, a white boy with an afro.
He looks exactly like
That's exactly what came out. And so from doing my morph, I feel the baby should have way more color than that. And he's 8 months and he still hasn't got that much color.
My
You know what I
family
mean?
is light. You know, color shouldn't have nothing to do with anything. He has all Mr. Bell's features. To his lips, his nose, his eyes, he looks just like him.
But Mr. Bell, you do have to know that children come in all shapes and sizes and colors, shades. It's just a reality. They don't always reflect the complexion of both parents. You do know that, right?
Yeah, but when you talking to dudes on Facebook and you got dudes calling your phone, like, she does hair, which is fine. But when she goes to do hair, she lets me know. You know what I'm saying? And she ain't never told me, "Oh, I'm going to braid the white boy hair," but yeah, he's still calling. You know what I'm saying? It's other people that's still calling, but they not getting their hair done. So what are they still calling for? Like, is that some type of code for you to go? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
What do you mean? I have no reason to lie. Mr. Bell knows everything. We don't have any lies. You know, I don't know why he's sitting here putting on a show. Don't know why. Go ahead and be funny.
you know
Go
what
ahead
I
and be
mean?
funny. That's
It's
fine.
crazy.
But I do hair for a living. You know, that's what I do. That's how I make my money.
Media.
Okay, I remember.
I
actually remember the day that I conceived. You know, that he was conceived. It was my birthday. We were at a family member's house, drinking, having fun, and he was conceived. I know. So him.
That's what I'm saying. How you know you pregnant already from that night?
No, I didn't know that night. I didn't know that night. It was actually how much? It was 4 weeks after.
And look, Your Honor, and when she told me,
and when I told him, he was happy. He was so happy. He was overjoyed.
I was overjoyed.
Kissing my stomach.
One at
He was
a
kissing my
time.
stomach, calling his family members, telling his family members, "Oh, she's pregnant." You know, he was happy. He don't have any kids. He was very happy, excited.
If he's mine, then let's be a family. You see, I want to be here. I've been here. But if he's not mine, man, I'm walk back to California, man.
Can I present you with this?
Absolutely. Jerome, will you hand me that evidence? What is that, Ms. Clemons?
It's his birth certificate. Mr. Bell actually signed the birth certificate. You know, if you're not the father,
I signed the birth certificate
if you're not
believing I was the father.
if you're not the
That's
father,
why I left California
this is
to fly
my-
to Kansas City
listen,
believing
this is
I was the
after
father.
he seen that my son was supposedly white. You know, he still signed the birth certificate. We actually argued in the hospital because he told me if I didn't give my son his last name, that he wasn't going to sign it.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to sign it. And I thought I could remove my name from the birth certificate. You know what I'm saying?
Now I'm upset because he's still denying my son.
Well, listen, I mean, yeah, in some states you do have a period of time when you can change your mind. If you acknowledge paternity and you feel like that was an error, you have a small window of time.
And we even argued about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I'm not signing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, my baby, if this is my son, he's gonna have my last name.
And
so I can start my family.
He
you know what I'm saying? He has my last name because I signed it. If I wouldn't have signed it, he wouldn't have my name.
Mr. Bell, how close are you to the child? Do you hold him? Do you play with him? Do you help raise him?
Yeah.
Do you change diapers?
Yes, Your Honor. I do all that. It's like I said, I don't treat him like he's not mine. I'm 32. I ain't had no mom or dad at all. Like, I'm a system baby. I grew up in the system, group homes and a few foster homes. I got released from the system when I was 18 and been since, you know what I'm saying? So I was always looking out for me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mind if I got in trouble or whatever. I was always looking out for me, and I always told myself I would change my life when I had somebody else to care about, which would be a child. And when he came and she told me she was pregnant, I'm done. Running the streets, doing fast money, I'm done. And I left. I flew out there. You know what I'm saying? I was sending her, she wanted to, when she found out she was pregnant, she wanted to go back home. I sent her back home, and once the baby came, I left everything and went out there. Left everything. I haven't been home in almost a year, Your Honor. Seen none of my family members or friends. I've been in this child's life.
Okay,
just
a couple days ago, he actually told my son, "You don't have a father."
No.
He told my son, "You don't have a father."
Told him to stop calling me daddy.
My son at 7 months, I'm sorry, he was saying "dada." His first words were "daddy, dada." You know, and still to this day, that's the only word he says. That's how much I'm around him. Exactly. So you're the real father.
Daddy before
you're the father.
That's how much I'm around.
So when my son kept saying "daddy, dada, daddy, dada," he was ignoring him. He was ignoring him. So what I said was when he was ignoring my child, I said, okay, you know, like just trying to quiet him down, like don't say it. And he said, you know what he said? He said, "You don't have a father." That hurt me. I was in tears, Your Honor. When he said that, I was okay. I was hurt. You don't do that. This is my child. This is the whole life we're talking about. This is the whole life. Why? Why do that to him? It hurts. It really hurts.
And so you just said to your child, just stop saying it.
I did.
And I can see that really hurts you. Is it bothering you that he doubts you, or is it bothering you that you feel like your child is suffering because of this?
It's definitely both. I never see myself going through this. You know, you see it on TV, you hear it, but I never see myself going through this. You know, this is supposed to be a man that I'm in love with. You know, the father of my child. You're supposed to be there, you know, come for me, everything. I don't get that from Mr. Bell. I don't. And just like hearing him say that to my child, all the feelings, everything is just cut off. You know, relationship, everything. You don't say that to no child. That hurt me. It really hurt.
Man, he's trying to play victim.
Playing victim? How's it playing victim?
Stop calling me dad because she was mad at me. She trying to say cold things to me. Oh, don't call him daddy.
But
don't call him daddy. Oh, you don't want him to call me daddy? Fine, he don't got no dad then. What's wrong with that? You trying to be cold to me? I promise you I could be even cold.
But why are you all doing this in front of the child?
This is what he does. Argue in front of the child, everything. This is what he does.
So, Mr. Bell, let me ask you this. You've spoken so passionately about this child. I could really see how much you care about this child. Are you saying if this is not your biological child, you're not even going to continue a relationship? You're going to be able to walk away from Major?
If he's not mine?
Yes.
Yes. I love him. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think he's mine. And if he's not mine, I'm not going to be there for him. I'm not going to raise nobody else's child.
That's love.
I want my own family. I don't have a family. I want my own. You know what I'm saying? And I deserve to have my own. You know what I'm saying? I deserve to have my own child.
All right. I think we need to figure out how to move forward, and in order to do that, we need the results. Jerome?
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Bell versus Clemons, when it comes to 1-year-old Major Bell, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Bell, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you. It took all of this. Just to show you. It doesn't make sense. It took all of this. It took all of this, right? Wow.
I'm sorry, Miss Clemons. I had to know.
It hurts.
Sorry.
So where are you all in this then?
I want to be able to be a family now. I honestly do. I want my son to have both parents in his life.
How about you, Mr. Bell?
I want a family. Of course, I ain't never had one. No mom, dad, aunties, grandma.
This is such an incredible opportunity for you, young man. And I don't want you to miss it. You have an opportunity to break a cycle for this baby. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you explain to Ms. Clemons what that means to you to break this cycle for your little boy together?
I just don't want Major to go through what I went through.
And as long as you're here, he won't. You know, we can just move forward from here.
Right. Ms. McDowell, you say you have no doubt that your 1-month-old daughter, Annabelle, is your husband's biological child because you claim you only had sex with Mr. McDowell during the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McDowell, you say your wife is nothing but a cheater and you believe that the man she left you for, Mr. Alfred, is in fact Annabelle's father.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
say that once the DNA results prove the child is not yours, you want out of this marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. McDowell, how has this situation affected you and your family?
Well, the children we have lost their mother. I'm a single father at the moment. I'm taking care of them by myself. And I mean, it all went down like she just one day told me she was going to go to her friend, a female friend's house and spend a few hours.
Your Honor, that's not true.
And then she called me later that night and said she was going to end up spending the night. Well, the next day, the female friend she went to go spend the night with called me and said she walked into the home and caught her, Miss McDowell, and her boyfriend on the couch cuddling.
That's a lie.
Whenever I brought it to Miss Adele's attention that I knew about it, she said that's what friends do.
Yes, I admit, I did sleep in the same bed with the dude. No, we were not cuddling, and no,
But we
did
are
not.
married. You don't sleep in a bed with another dude during a marriage.
But
I mean,
me, him,
before
and the
that,
friend that I went and stayed the night with was drinking that night. We went to the store, and on our way back, he's gonna tell me that I could sleep with this dude in front of him and watch me mess around with this dude. And I told him, I said, no, I'm your wife, and that's not right.
Did you suggest that, Mr. McDowell?
I do not recall that. No, Your Honor, I do not. We were all drinking, and that was before the fact of her going up there and spending the 3 days.
To me, that sends up a red flag. So I told him I needed time away, a week at least, to think about what I needed to do.
But within
If
that
I
week,
wanted
they
to
slept together? I mean,
stay in the relationship.
Because he made that request, that rubbed you the wrong way, and you said you needed time away to think.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then what happened?
Well, I went out to my friend's house. Dude was my friend, and the chick was my friend. I did not know she was planning on leaving that night. It's the whole reason I ended up asking to stay the night.
But you ended up in the bed with this guy.
Yes, Your Honor.
At some point in this marriage, I mean, no matter how messy, difficult it has been, you end up pregnant and you tell your husband?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was his response?
It's not mine.
it's not mine.
I said, I told him that it has to be his because me and him had sex on October the 27th when we were heading to go get our other 3 kids.
I do not recall that.
He's a liar, Your Honor.
And since then, she jumped from boyfriend to boyfriend, coworker to coworker. She was with like 5 or 6 different guys.
No,
before
Your
she's
Honor,
the
I
one
was
she
with
is now.
4 different guys, and I have proof here that yes, I did. We had sex on the 27th, and also I had sex with Mr. Alfred on the 9th and the 10th of November.
Let me see this proof.
And then I also have proof from what my midwife told me that my conceiving week was, and that's the week I had sex with Mr. Mcdowell on the back road.
This first page of evidence is a calendar.
I mean,
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
wouldn't.
It shows on the 27th of October, you were intimate with your husband,
Yes,
Mr.
Your Honor.
McDowell. And then on the 9th and the 10th of November, you were intimate with the other man in question.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's Mr. Alfred.
And here I have where it shows the week of me conceiving my child.
May I see that, Jerome? And then on this calendar, you say your midwife gave you a date of conception, a window.
Yes, Your Honor.
And she said that that was the week of October 26th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which means the 27th is when you slept with your husband, Mr. Mcdowell.
Yes,
So
Your Honor.
you figured it was his child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because there was no one else you slept
So
with
she
for
can
at least 2
determine
weeks.
that the baby was
Yes,
mine
Your
because
Honor.
I slept with her, allegedly slept with her a week before the next guy did.
Because you're saying you don't even remember
No,
that
I
happened.
mean, I will admit I allowed her to perform oral activities on me, but we did not physically do anything that could acquire a baby. I believe she
That same
boiled
night,
this
Your
plan
Honor,
up in
he
her
couldn't even
mind to
find
get
his
money for my
condoms.
family because my mother supported her through our last 3 pregnancies. And she believed that if she had my mother fooled to believe that it was my kid, that she can get whatever she wanted, food, money, clothing. And I told my mother not to help her, and she did it behind my back anyway.
Your Honor, I paid his mother.
Your mother's here. I'd like to hear from her. Please stand, ma'am. Thank you for being here, Ms. Combs. You've been here in this courtroom once before, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were here with your nephew.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you're here with your son.
Yes, ma'am.
He just said that during the pregnancy, you took Ms. McDowell in. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Please explain.
Well, it's not my grandchild, first of all.
You don't believe it's your grandchild?
May I say one more thing? We had a court scheduled in our town. I was walking down the hallway. I was running late for court. She did not know where I was coming. I tucked in behind the corner to where no one could see me, and I overheard her telling somebody and laughing that she knew the child wasn't mine and that she was just playing us for the money.
No, Your Honor, that is not true.
Yes, I did, because it
I
was
said
my
that I did
cousin,
not
and
think
I
it-
asked him, and he confirmed it.
He asked me if
to
it
me,
was
why does a
if
whore
Mr.
walk
McDowell's
around
child-
screwing different
Ms.
people all
Combs,
the
let's be
time?
respectful.
He asked
Well,
me
you know,
if
it's
I thought it was
pathetic
Mr.
when she
McDowell's
wants to sit
child.
around
I
and screw
said,
Tom, Dick, and Harry, and then just blame one person as the daddy.
Like,
yeah, like
at
he
the time,
said,
yes.
The reason why it is
Like she
is
drew a name
because
out of a hat and
everything
said, "This
she's
is it."
got and she's had, I've supported her because her and her ain't nothing but trash.
What I want to know is, if you didn't believe the child was your grandchild, why did you take her in?
Because she told me from day one that it was his, like she's saying now. I believed her as a grandmother.
Well, it looks
I'm going to
nothing
do.
like me.
So at first you believed.
Yes, ma'am.
looks nothing
I
like
took
me
her
nor
to the
the other
doctors. She called me wanting food. She called me wanting money. I've done her and her boyfriend's laundry.
And I told her
No.
repeatedly not to do it, and she did it behind my back anyway.
I even give her and her
Your Honor.
boyfriend money to come and do stuff at my house just to earn money.
You knew it was her boyfriend, or you found out later?
No, I knew it was her boyfriend. I tried to work it to where they could get back together because my thought, even though she's a whore, that her.
Ma'am, you
they
have to
had,
use respectful language.
I'm sorry.
Do not use that language.
But to me, they had 3 children together, and she should be not a slut on the street. That's not a cuss word, but a slut on the street and be a mother to these children because it's not their fault. They didn't ask to be born. And I let her stay with me and paid everything that she needed, got her stuff, whatever, so she could work things out between
Your
her
Honor,
and
I mean,
him.
if-
And she kept going right back to the same boy over and over and over.
If she honestly believed the child was mine, then why did she refuse my and my family's appearance at the hospital during birth? I have not laid eyes on that baby personally since it's been born.
Your Honor,
I have not seen it in person.
I did not refuse him.
You
I
have
told-
not.
Have not.
Yes,
This is the
Honor,
best picture I've seen of
We've
to
not
date.
seen that child.
And honestly, I don't think it looks
I
like
did
me
not
nor the other
refuse.
3 kids we have. The other 3 kids we have, all 3 came out looking identical. Like, there's no comparison at all. This is not my kid.
Your Honor, I did not refuse them to come up to the
Yes, you
hospital. I
did.
told them I did not want no drama at the hospital while
told
I
us-
was in delivery, and if it came down to it, I would have them removed.
I mean,
So now we keep talking about this boyfriend. I want to understand this relationship. This is
Me
with
too.
Mr. Alfred.
Yes.
When did he really get in the picture? What?
Well, all right. November the 9th, I sat there and messaged him on Facebook, seeing if I can come over and chill with him and hang out. And then, yes, we ended up having sex that night.
the first night you...
While you're
First night?
married?
Yes, Your Honor. He asked me to come back the next day, and I told him I would. Well, we ended up getting together that next day, which is November the 10th. And we had sex that day, too.
And now you're boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yes. Now,
Probably during the marriage, too. Because after they got
No.
together is when she came over and was performing the oral on me. So
No,
she
it
was
was
sneaking
not.
behind his back and coming and seeing me at my mother's.
no, it was not. You're a liar.
Okay, who was at the birth?
Not me.
Mr.
Not me.
Alfred was
I
at
have
the
no
birth.
clue.
He supported
Mr.
me.
Alfred.
Whenever
He supported me
whenever
the
she
whole
was
9 months
pregnant-
while I was pregnant and thinking that it is Michael's child, and I still think it's Michael's child.
So Mr. Alfred supported you and went to the birth and witnessed the birth of this child, but knowing that it was
Yes, Your
Mr.
Honor.
McDowell's child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Jerome, I think it's time we meet Mr. Alfred.
She's playing
Can
both
you
sides.
escort him in the courtroom? This is just a mess.
I mean, honestly, he probably is not the father neither.
I'll have you go up to the witness stand right
There's no telling who it is.
steps. All right.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Alfred. I have to ask you, do you believe your baby Annabelle's biological father?
Personally, I don't believe me or Michael, either one or the father. I think it might be the gentleman that she
Told
was
you.
with before she tried to work
that?
things out with Michael.
What's interesting here is you say the baby's your husband says the baby's your lover, and your lover says the baby's by another.
Explain
Your
what I
Honor,
said.
the reason why he thinks it's by another person is because the dude I was with before October.
Or one of the multiple other guys you were with.
Ms. McDowell, respectfully, how many men were you sleeping with?
I was with 4 dudes, 4 dudes all together. That's including Mr. Alfred and Mcdowell.
I had also found messaging from Facebook from this other gentleman to Mrs.
I can relate to
McDowell
that.
asking about her pregnancy and the child. And to me, that seems kind of fishy. Why would he be asking unless he thought he might be the father as well?
So
I
she
know of
said you were at
5.
the birth.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
You did.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were married to Mr. McDowell, but Mr. Alfred, you were there at the birth and you signed the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you just said, that sounds good to me, I'm signing up.
Yeah, 'cause
Basically, yeah.
Considering he was there for the whole 9
I-
months.
So you didn't believe you were the child's biological father, but you were happy to be the child's legal father. You wanted to acknowledge paternity.
But we already have 3
Well,
kids
for the simple
together.
fact is, the 3 children that they have together now, he likes to hold over her head. He refuses her visits and stuff
She
like that.
refuses to come and see him. She
tries
ain't been to see him
she
in
tries
6
to go
to
to
8
church.
months.
She tries to go to
But every time Mr. Alfred kicks her out because of an argument, she comes running straight to my doorstep asking if
I
I'll
have
take
not
her back.
done it here recently.
Or
at
my
all.
house.
split up
No, not
one
since the
time.
You
baby's
said
been
not
born.
recently, but you've done it?
We've only
Yes,
split up
I
one
have
time
done
in
it.
9 months.
Whenever we've been into it and he's put me out,
Every time they've been
I have
into it.
ran to my mother-in-law because I was pregnant. And yes, like I said, it's Mr. McDowell's baby. So yes, I'm going to run to my mother-in-law for support. She
But
told
then
me
at
if
the
I
same-
needed anything that I could depend on her for anything.
That's the only reason why she claims it's my kid is so she can get that kind of support. I
No.
mean, once she became 3 months pregnant and I was informed she was pregnant, she dropped all visits with the current 3
Whenever-
kids we have. She has not visited or anything at the for
he's
about
a
6
liar.
months
And what's interesting is, Ms. McDowell, you're saying the baby's your husband's, but you're in a relationship with Mr. Alfred.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he signed the birth certificate.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he supported you through the birth.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you still believe this is Mr. McDowell's child.
Yes, Your Honor.
now. If she believes it's mine, then why would she have somebody else sign the certificate?
Because he supported me through the whole 9 months and he was there at
doesn't
her
matter.
birth.
To my knowledge,
I have
the
custody
first
of the
5 months
prior
of her
3
pregnancy,
kids.
she believed that it was Mr. McDowell's. Up until the 6th month on, she tried to claim that it was mine.
Exactly.
I personally believe
Exactly.
that she just was trying to see who would take her in and support
Who would
her.
give her the most money and feed her better?
But like I said, I don't believe the baby's mine. I hope the results are different because, like I said, we are in a relationship together.
So you want the child to be yours, but you don't believe the child is yours.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at you now, Ms. McDowell, and it seems like you're getting emotional. What are you feeling?
If somebody asked,
Let her speak.
yes, ma'am.
I'm upset that my boyfriend don't believe me. And I mean, I'm upset that everything that's going on, and truthfully, I hope that that baby is Cody, Mr. Alfred's. Because he supported me through everything, even whenever I was depressed. I mean, he's been there. Even whenever I needed him the most, he's been there.
I love this girl with all my heart, and that's the reason why I supported her through the whole 9 months.
I've had no relationship with my own father, so I don't want her to go through it. I don't even know who my father is, and I don't want her to have to go through the same thing. I'd rather her know who her father is and have a father and be there for her I'd rather her be supported by a father. She needs a man in her life.
All right. Jerome, I'm ready for the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Mcdowell versus Mcdowell, when it comes to 1 month old Annabelle Alfred, as to whether Mr. Mcdowell or Mr. Alfred is the biological father, Mr. Alfred, you are her father.
Thank God.
Mom was right.
How does it feel, Mr. Alfred?
I mean, it feels great. It feels amazing. My mother was right the whole time. And just, like I said, given so many different people that she had been with within the timeline, this is the reason why I had doubts.
Ms. McDowell, that was the answer you wanted.
Yes, Your Honor. It is. Just so I won't have to deal with him with another kid. And that I would be able to always be around her.
Mr. McDowell, it seemed that this was the answer you wanted as well.
Yes, Your Honor, it is. I'm relieved.
But you still have other children together.
Yes, we do.
And I'm hoping that this truth, this clarity, will help relieve some of the doubt, some of the anxiety, some of the negative energy, so that maybe you all can at least begin to co-parent the other 3 children. Are you all legally divorced yet?
Not yet, but it's coming soon after this. There's no doubt the divorce is going through. I'm through with this.
I can't wait. I'm ready to get my last name back.
Mr. Connor, you say a one-time fling with the defendant turned into more than 15 years of child support payments and even jail time for a child you have never believed is yours. You need today's results to prove you are not her child's father. Ms. Wallace, you and your husband claim the plaintiff knows he is your son's biological father and want him to pay what he owes when the results prove it today. Mr. Wallace, you say you trust your mother, but acknowledge Mr. Connor's recent actions have given you doubt. Mr. Connor, explain to the court why today's results are so important.
Today's results are so important, Your Honor, because I need to undo a terrible injustice that's been inflicted upon me and my family. It's caused a lot of problems, financially especially. It's times when I can't afford things. I've even been to jail. 2005, November the 5th until January 2006.
For failure to pay child support.
For failure to pay child support, that is correct, Your Honor. And there was no home for me to go to. I lost that. I lost my car, I lost my job. I was 36 years old. I had to start all over. It's making my character look real bad, Your Honor. And I know for a fact that she know he's not my son.
2.5 months in jail.
Yes.
Child support in arrears.
Yes, I still owe $610. They're taking $70 a week. Yes, I'm broke.
Your Honor, he just wants off child support. For one, it was more than just a one-night fling.
You know Jeffrey isn't my child, and I have you on Facebook.
You can quit pointing your fingers because I'm an adult.
But no, you're not. No, you're not. What kind of adult?
I'm 42 years
subject
old.
their child
I'm
to
42
something
years
like that all
old, Your
these
Honor.
years?
I raised my 3 kids by myself. You not one time knew what I had to struggle and go through
because I know he's not my son.
All right, so I'm not sitting up here whining and talking about what me and my kids had to go without eating.
Is not my
problem. Son Jeffrey had holes in his shoes and growing up going to school.
That's his dad's fault.
Mama had to,
That's his dad's fault.
Yeah, okay. Who is his father then?
You know, I don't.
Who is his? You said you know.
It's not me.
You said you know.
Ms. Wallace,
not me.
Tell the court, you say your son had to grow up without...
Yes. Ask Jeffrey. Ask him. He went to school with holes in his shoes.
Why was you telling him for years that another man was his father as well?
Jeffrey, have I ever told you
It's
that
on
another
Facebook.
man was your father? Ask my son, Your Honor.
Let's pause, and I want to go back a little bit and understand. Mr. Connor, you say the relationship with Miss Wallace was a one-night stand.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that? Do you remember this relationship, encounter?
There wasn't a relationship. I met her through a family member. We all used to hang out a little bit, here or there in the fall. We came together one time, and up on penetration, she changed her mind, and that was that. I never knew anything about Jeffrey. She had a friend who told me, oh, did you sleep with Wanda? I said, no, not really, sort of. Then I told her what happened. There was penetration. I told her the story. And then she said, well, I just wanted to tell you, she was pregnant already.
So I want to understand your testimony. You're saying that you did start to have a sexual encounter.
Yeah.
But then at some point, Miss Wallace, changed her mind?
She changed her mind.
She said she didn't want to do it.
Yeah, she changed her mind.
And you said, fine, because no is no.
Yeah,
And you never completed the act?
no,
And it never lasted more than one night? You never had sex again?
no.
That's not true either.
What do you remember, Miss Wallace?
I remember him and I being in a whole year relationship, and we had sex numerous of times, Your Honor. And he did know. Well, I got sick. How I found out that I was pregnant. I got sick. My mom taking me to my doctor's appointment, and that's when I found out I was 2 months pregnant. And I called you it, and I told you.
You
Back
never
then
told
we
me.
had you a lie.
You never told
Back
me.
then we had pagers. Shut your lying butt up.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let
Back
me-
then we had pagers.
You popped up with him
I
when he was
messaged him.
3 or
Your
4
Honor.
years
Can
old.
I please
Mr.
pause?
Connor, I'm going to give you a chance to respond. I promise I will give you a chance to respond.
He very
Miss Wallace,
disrespectful.
I want you to speak, and I want to hear what you're saying. You
Yes,
say-
ma'am.
Do you remember the day you told him?
I do not remember
Do you remember how you told him?
I never
Yes.
heard about
Hold
the
on,
pregnancy.
Mr. Connor.
Oh, over the phone.
So you called him?
Yes, I called him and we spoke over the phone. We used to have, as he called it, phone sex. So anyways, we will talk over the phone all the time. And yes, when Jeffrey was born, yes, I did take our son over to his father's house. And when the stuff hit the fan is when I popped over his house. It was another female there. And his sister told me that he was upstairs with another woman. And
All right, pause right there. Miss Wallace is saying you all were intimate for a year, and when
We
she
never
found out she
had
was pregnant,
a
she called you.
relationship at all, Your Honor.
Do you
If it
remember?
was-
Do you remember being told she was pregnant?
Only by the friend, and I blew that off because a penetration act, she intentionally done this. That's a crime, what she did. She knew.
And why would she intentionally trap you?
At the time, I was doing pretty good. So I had a little BMW. We were young. Couple of them. I was watching them. I say, all of a sudden, here come the child support. I think maybe she thought I had a little money as well. Maybe.
So can I ask
Back
you, you
then.
say you saw Jeffrey when he was 3 or 4 months old, she brought him over. Both of you all at least agree on that. I want to know when's the next time you saw him.
I seen him when he was 5. He came to my mother's funeral, repast.
And you agree to that, Miss Wallace?
Yes, ma'am.
That
Yes, Your
happened.
Honor.
And
Yes.
during the time from 3 to 4 months to 5 years old, did you all ever have conversations about Jeffrey at all?
Yes, me
Yes.
and her
Yes, he
had a couple
told
of
me that he wanted to
conversations.
be in his son's life. I told him I did not want to be in a relationship with him. You know.
You're a professional liar. Man,
And you know what? I'm not going to even, disrespect you because I'm a woman.
that's not disrespect.
So,
You committed a crime.
Like I said, Your Honor, this man, he wanted to be with me, and I did not want to be with him.
All right, but did you discuss Jeffrey and
Yes.
whether or not you were going to
Our
raise him?
discussion was-
Child support?
He wanted me to be with him in order to be in Jeffrey's life. I should not have to be in a relationship with a man in order for him to even help with his child. The courts told him and gave him a date.
I wasn't there.
He never
I didn't
showed-
get served.
Oh, God. Yes, he did, Your
No.
Honor.
And I understand how that happens. Trust me. That's
It's
called
called a
being
default.
It's right. It's called a default judgment. And if the father doesn't show up to court,
Yes.
he will be named the father by default and required to pay court-ordered child support. Regardless, you're here now. You've suffered all the consequences of that. And I honestly say to myself, Mr. Connor, he must really believe and he's not this young man's biological father. Because the truth is, they've put you on record as the legal father.
Yeah.
That's why you're responsible for support.
Yeah.
And I can't really understand that, except for the fact that you truly believe you are not his biological father.
Yes. I know.
Jeffrey, I want to ask you, I know this testimony has been difficult. I thank you for being patient. Can you tell me, when was the first time you met Mr. Connor?
The first time that I met Jewett here, that I recall meeting, I was like, 10 years old at that point. I remember my mom, some other family members were riding around East St. Louis, and we decided to stop through this drive-through liquor store. And one of my family members was like, hey, that's your dad.
So when you see this man and they just casually say, this is your dad, does
Yes,
he
ma'am.
say hello to you?
Yeah, he said, hey, but it wasn't like a conversation further than that, because I just hurry up and got back in the back seat, because I'm like, I don't have a dad. So like, how can any member of my family just say, hey, that's your dad? Because prior to then, no one really spoke to me, that I recall, spoke to me like, hey, this is your dad and everything. So prior to that particular point, I never really thought like, hey, who's my dad? There wasn't a thought for me. But after the liquor store incident, that's when I started wondering and everything.
All right.
And we ended up, so after I started asking my mom a lot of questions, I guess she was like, hey, it's time for you to actually hang out with that side of your family. So that summer, after church, we go over there. But when I was there, I spent more time with his sister and my cousins and everything. And
Mr. Connor, do you remember this time when Jeffrey came to visit your family?
Yeah, I do kind of, sort of. I came over there and he was already there, and my wife asked me who he was.
I'd like to hear from your wife. Ma'am, please stand and step over to the podium. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to know what you know about this situation.
When Jeffrey was 10, we came home one day to the house, and he was sitting on the couch, and I just asked Jewett, who is that? And he said, that's Jeffrey, and I already knew the situation. He had already told me.
What had he told you?
That basically they wanted to put a baby on him. He attempted to have sex with her, and...
At this point, when Jeffrey was 10, was your husband paying child support for Jeffrey?
Yes, he was paying child support for Jeffrey already. And we didn't see Jeffrey again until he was, I want to say maybe like 15 or so. He stopped by the house one day.
And you didn't make any effort to stay in contact with him?
I did. I reached out to him on social media because he wrote a big paragraph on Facebook saying, where's my dad and why was I never part of your family and, that kind of stuff. So I called. I asked Jeffrey for his number, and I had Jewett to call him, and Jewett told him, I'm not your dad. That's why you didn't spend time with the family.
Do you remember writing that?
I do. I do. There was this particular scene from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will is having a conversation with his dad, and his dad is trying to leave and basically not be a part of his life anymore. And that kind of just really hit home for me. I decided to express myself on Facebook, and then as Ms. Trina said, she did reach out to me, and they kind of both told me at that point that it's a possibility I may not be his child, and that was the first time I ever heard that. So it was kind of just earth-shattering at that point for me. And then when I hear them say, hey, I may not be his child, it got me thinking darn, my presence on this earth just made a negative impact on someone else's life.
Oh,
Uh,
no. Because your mother loved you with all her heart. You know that. You my
Yes,
twin.
ma'am.
And I showed love for ever since the day that I had you. You are my world. And I played the mother and father role because I knew what he he was denying you. So I made it the best. I did the best that I could do.
All right,
in
Ms.
a
Wallace.
one household parent.
And I need you to allow Jeffrey to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Because really
Yes,
it
Your
is
Honor.
about him.
Yes,
And he
yes.
does deserve the opportunity to say what he feels.
Yes.
He shouldn't have to post it on Facebook. He should be able to say it face to face to Mr. Connor and to you, to everyone. It's his truth.
Yes, Your Honor. I love my son with all my heart.
That's your son.
I love him with all my heart.
You victimized.
Hold on, Mr. Connor. This is a moment that I need you to understand. I brought up your son, and then you brought up Mr. Connor. I brought up your son, you brought up Mr. Connor. I brought up your son, you brought up I brought up your son, It goes back to you. I love him. We know that, but what I'm saying is in this moment, this is just about him.
Yes, ma'am.
Because as much as you love him, that doesn't change the fact that when he watched that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode, he did not write about why he didn't have a mama, because he had one.
Yes, ma'am.
He wrote about why he didn't have a father.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
I think we need to get the results.
Yes, ma'am.
Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Connor versus Wallace, when it comes to 24-year-old Jeffrey Wallace, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Connor, you are not the father.
I already knew it. She committed a crime. She set me up. I knew this all the time. I'm done.
I understand you are frustrated, and I understand you have been through a lot.
Already do.
I want to turn my attention to Jeffrey. So, Jeffrey, are you all right, honey?
Not really. Yeah, not really. More so because of my mom, she was very, very, very adamant that Jewel was the dad, so that made me more adamant as well.
I know.
And I just want to apologize first. Like, I know it's nothing that I've done.
You don't have to.
But
You're a great person.
Thank
You're
you.
a very great person.
And it's just like
I would have loved you to have been my son, but I just knew.
At this point, I never, like, before this whole incident, I never even knew that there was another possibility.